The Navy's overestimating me, but that could be a good thing. And everything they say is technically true. I'm a hero right now. This is my big chance. If I somehow manage to kill Whitebeard, I'd become one of the 4 emperors. And then soon, I'll be king of the pirates. Buggy is a highly incompetent pirate captain who we first meet in East Blue as one of Luffy's initial enemies. And seriously, if you've ever been in a work situation with a boss or a superior who is just so drastically unfit for the position they're in, that's Buggy in a nutshell. To be fair, he isn't an idiot in the traditional sense, however he is prone to gross miscalculations, usually due to a sense of overconfidence, but hey, that's why we love him. With that said, Buggy is really the most stereotypical pirate in a series about pirates. He is ruthless, relies heavily on cannons and swords, and cares only for treasure. He first encountered Luffy in Orangetown early on in the East Blue saga, and although he gave Luffy some trouble, he ended up being somewhat comedically defeated. He was most notable for being Luffy's first opponent with a devil fruit of their own. And that fruit just so happens to be the BARA no Mi. It's a paramecia type that allows its user to separate their body parts and control them individually. It's actually a pretty neat fruit that gives the user the bonus ability practically being immune to swords and cutting attacks in general. If Buggy's body is chopped up, it does no damage and he can just put himself back together again. Regardless, Buggy was beaten, hilariously, and it was only then that he would begin to really shine. As it turns out, Buggy has a much greater history and destiny than any of us would dare imagine. And this brings us nicely to Badass Buggy Fact number 1. He was a former member of Gol D. Rogers' crew. Wait, what? This super weak, evil sort of dude sailed with the Pirate King? Well, he sure did. He was actually a rookie pirate with Shanks and joined the crew around the same time. Exactly why Roger let him join, and why Buggy isn't anywhere near as strong as the rest of the crew, who knows? It's never really been explained, but the reality of it is, Buggy may be one of the few characters in the world who actually knows what the One Piece is. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's fairly safe to say he does. Given Buggy's lust for treasure, he would surely be going after the One Piece like every other pirate in the world, except he's not, because he knows, or at least has an idea, of its exact nature. After being defeated by Luffy, Buggy went on an adventure that involved a fair bit of shenaniganry, and ultimately teamed up with another former villain, Alvida. Together the two of them plotted to kill Luffy, and instigated their plan in Logtown. And to Buggy's credit, he actually would have been successful, if not for the interference of Dragon, who saved Luffy from Buggy, and then again from Smoker. After this incident, the ever-tenacious Buggy decided to pursue Luffy into the Grand Line. Along the way, Buggy and his crew became highly distracted with various endeavors, mostly involving treasure, until he received a random visit from Luffy's brother and Whitebeard's division commander, Port-Gas D. Ace. In an uncharacteristic show of restraint, Buggy warned his crew members not to touch Ace, fearing Whitebeard's retribution, and revealing that Whitebeard was the only man who fought equally with his previous captain Roger. Ace then coerced Buggy into throwing a party, and that was the last we heard of the clown for quite some time. Until of course he appeared on a newspaper, having been captured while searching a cave for treasure that turned out to be a marine fortress. Buggy was then sent to Impel Down with impeccable timing, and became Luffy's very first ally when he snuck into Impel Down to free Ace. Throughout the jailbreak experience, Buggy proved to be a fairly worthless ally, but he did manage to gain a lot of notoriety with some of the other prisoners, through a series of selfish but very cool out-of-context maneuvers. For example, Buggy chose to accompany fellow prisoners, Crocodile, Jinbei, and Dust Bones, to commandeer a marine battleship for their escape. The prisoners cheered Buggy on, believing him to be the equal or better of his 3 companions. In reality, Buggy decided to go with them because he felt it would be safer under their protection rather than waiting with the rest of the prisoners. And this sheer ridiculousness would continue into the Marineford arc. As it turns out, Buggy was mistakenly labelled by the Marines as the mastermind of the Impel Down incident, and his past as a member of the Roger Pirates was revealed to everyone. Now, while characters such as Crocodile and Jinbei were simply confused, this earned him a following amongst most of the ex-prisoners of Impel Down, and gave Buggy an unneeded boost in his already very high and sorely misplaced confidence. He even went so far as to say that he was going to Marineford to challenge Whitebeard himself, thus going against everything he said previously and knew previously, simply to impress his new followers. However, shortly into the Battle of Marineford, Whitebeard made an alliance with Buggy, who may or may not have believed it was done because Whitebeard saw Buggy as his equal. In reality, Whitebeard did it because the sheer number of pirates who were now following Buggy could have become a hindrance in the war. So Buggy rallied his followers to Whitebeard's cause and took part in the Battle of Marineford, which brings us to Badass Buggy Fact number 2. Buggy fought one-on-one with the world's greatest swordsman, Hawk-Eye Mihawk. You remember from before when I said Buggy's Devil Fruit comes with the bonus ability of being immune to swords? Well, the world's greatest swordsman is no exception. After being forced by Luffy to fight Mihawk, Buggy was swiftly chopped into pieces and simply reformed his body, prompting his followers to believe that Buggy really was capable of fighting one-on-one with Hawk-Eye Mihawk. Buggy himself even began to believe it, although he was soon defeated by his own Monkey Ball, no less. However, Buggy's role in this arc was far from over. After hijacking a visual Denden Mushi that was broadcasting the battle all over the world, Buggy and his followers used it to essentially transmit a commercial, bragging about Buggy having been a former member of the legendary Roger Pirates. During the final stages of the battle, Buggy is actually responsible for saving Luffy and Jinbei's lives, after unintentionally catching them in mid-air and evading Akainu's Magma Fist. This was, once again, completely accidental, however his followers believed it to be an act of sheer heroism. Buggy was also responsible for returning Luffy's straw hat at Shanks' request, once the Emperor had arrived to end the war. This somewhat casual interaction between Buggy and one of the 4 strongest pirates in the world prompted Buggy's new followers to proclaim that they would follow him forever. After the war, the ex-prisoners of Impel Down, as well as Mr. 3, integrated with Buggy's old crew, and Buggy was swiftly sent the offer of a lifetime, which brings us to our final badass Buggy fact. He's a warlord of the sea. That's right, Buggy, who had a bounty of a mere 15 million berries, is now one of the 7 warlords of the sea. The world government offered him the position after mistakenly believing he was the mastermind of Impel Down and heavily misinterpreting his actions during the Battle of Marineford. Using his status, Buggy is now the leader of Buggy's Delivery, also known as the Pirate Dispatch Organization, which deploys powerful mercenaries to paying customers. The individuals under his control are far more powerful than he could ever dream of being, but hey, they don't know that. And unfortunately, that's the last we've seen of Buggy the Clown for now. Some more fun facts about Buggy. Because he's a clown, you've probably been thinking that that red nose is fake this whole time. However, it turns out that it is indeed his real nose. Buggy was originally going to be named Boogie. However, allegedly, after Akira Oda saw The Nightmare Before Christmas featuring the villain Oogie Boogie, he rethought the name and changed it to Buggy. After his initial defeat by Luffy, Buggy actually ended up meeting Gaimon, a character encountered by Luffy and Nami very early on in the series. The two became good friends, and neither of them knew about the other's connection to the Straw Hat Pirates.